UK. And let us now warmly welcome the first speaker representing the City University of Hong Kong, Professor Jeffrey Shaw. And he's going to talk about the Alive Lab experience. And I'm sure Professor Shaw will have a lot of very interesting experience to share with all of us. So let's welcome Professor Shaw. Thanks.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the organisers for giving me this opportunity to make this presentation here today. I'd like to just start with this picture of our new Run Run Shaw Creative Media Centre, a building designed by Danielle Liebeskind, and we literally moved in there about a month ago. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is our applied laboratory for interactive visualization and embodiment, which is about a year old and was set up at the Hong Kong Science Park. And this is a, let's say, R&D environment which where we are addressing both undergraduate, graduate and postgraduate research projects. And I'm just basically intending to go through the lab with you and show you some of the works which are there. Yes, it's an interdisciplinary initiative at the School of Creative Media, and it sets out to operate as an innovation showcase for new forms of creativity. A strong thematic, you could say, is to do with future cinema. But when we talk about future cinema, we talk about the cinematic experience rather than the conventional format that we are used to in the sort of Hollywood paradigm. It's also interesting when one thinks about the cinema, how heterogeneous its beginnings were. There were so many interesting inventions, so many interesting technological and artistic experiments, and this all became somewhat homogenized by the Hollywood paradigm. But I feel now, because of the development of digital technologies, we are again in a period of experimentation and testing new forms of let's say, cinematic creativity. At the lab, we have a bunch of interesting, let's say, visualization systems, and I'm just going to work through these and show you, let's say, the technologies and also specific content, specific applications. But in general, I would say that all these machines are meant to be reasonably generic in the sense that various artists, various creators can use this infrastructure in different ways to achieve different content objectives. One thing we could, I don't know if this is technically possible, can we drop, is there somebody who controls the lighting level in the room? Because if we can bring the house lights down, you may get to enjoy the slides will be more. That's great. Could even come down a bit more. Great, excellent. Okay, this system is called Place, and the content for this work is a cultural heritage project done at Hampi in India. It's a World Heritage site. We were doing stereo panoramic photography. So this is a stereoscopic panoramic photo camera for taking basically 3D panoramic pictures. We created a, let's say, virtual environment that was populated with these stereo photographs. And this is the functionality of the system. The viewer stands on a platform, is able to interactively rotate the platform. They rotate their point of view, and in so doing, they rotate their movement in the virtual space. And they also have buttons which allow them to travel forwards and backwards. So these are machineries which allow, let's say, virtual journeying in in this particular environment, in this case Hampi in southern India. You're wearing glasses because it's in 3D. You can rotate a kind of a monitor which rotates the platform, which in turn rotates your window of view. So one is traveling through this virtual landscape, encountering these cylinders. Each cylinder is a stereo panoramic photograph taken at one or other location in Hampi. And in some of these panoramas, we worked with an animation company in Bangalore, and we created animations of Hindu gods, which were, let's say, gods that were, let's say, mythologically appropriate, or let's say religiously appropriate to that environment. And these animations were embedded in the panoramic photography. Now, another system we've got set up at the lab is this system, which involves stereo projection onto a wall and onto the floor. And this is one example of a work made for this system, though in this particular embodiment we also have projections on 2 walls beside, so it's actually projected on 4 surfaces. It's also in 3D. It's a very strong experience because actually when you're standing in this space, you see an image stretching from where you're standing to infinity in all directions, so that you really feel as if you are inside the image space. In this particular work, this is an artwork made for the Intercommunication Center in Tokyo. This wooden puppet was built as an interface to explore the work. It had sensors in all its joints, so that by playing with this puppet, with this surrogate figure, human figure, moving its arms, legs, moving its torso, you were basically modulating the visual environment and also the acoustic environment that went with it. And this is just some projection of how such a technology might end up in our living rooms at some stage in the future. Not too far-fetched, actually. Now, another sort of thematic that interests us a lot is the sort of the panoramic gaze. And there is, of course, a long history of fascination with panoramic imagery, especially panoramic painting. This is the Panorama Mesdag in The Hague. We've built a 360-degree, again, stereoscopic projection environment. It's called AV. This is the system. It's about 10 meters diameter, about 4 meters high. Now, this is one particular application. It's based on the notion of basically it addresses the potentiality of vast archives of video data, or in fact any kind of data, really any kind of multimedia data, and being able to use this 360-degree stereoscopic visualization environment as a way of traveling and organizing this multimedia data. In this particular work, we have about 30,000 video clips, each one with specific metadata, typically metadata associated with emotional qualities, love, joy, fear, anger. And by clicking on different images, you can create different constellations of similar images or dissimilar images. You can also edit them together, create kind of emergent narratives by it's basically taking broadcast television, chopping it up into little pieces like Lego blocks, and then giving the viewer the freedom to reassemble these Lego blocks into sort of their own emergent narratives. I'm going to show you this one chart which might interest you. As a consequence of doing this work, we also ended up with some statistical data. Because we gave metadata to all these clips, we ended up with some comparative data about these are the 6 free-to-air TV stations in Australia, or the 5 rather, and you can see the relative proportion of love, joy, grief, fear, and anger in a sample 24-hour period of broadcast material. There's also been some interesting, let's say, industrial applications. The mining industry in Australia discovered, or we working with the mining industry, we discovered that the system was extremely effective as a mining safety training environment. And a number of these systems have been sold in Australia and recently also in mainland China for safety training, allowing miners to move through virtual mine environments and go through various, let's say, safety training scenarios. And another application done with one of our partners at the ZKM in Karlsruhe involves remapping the Google Earth into a 360-degree cylindrical format. Another area of experimentation involves 360-degree cinema or cinematography or video capture. This is a camera we built, a cluster of 12 cameras. Oh, that's fine. Thanks. A cluster of 12 cameras, so it's a total, I think, of around 24 megapixels video recording. We did a project together with the Wooster Group, famous New York theater company. They basically performed a piece of theater, or they created a piece of theater, 30 minutes long, around this camera. And the way it was actually presented, I'll just freeze it here. Again, you have to imagine that you have a complete 360-degree projection environment. So you have basically a movie, which is all around you. But most of the movie is out of focus, and only one particular area is in focus. And that lady who's sitting on the chair there, she is actually, where she is looking is what controls the area that's in focus. And she can move that around. So basically she's moving a window of view around inside that movie, and the sound is following that. So basically you're choosing which area of the movie you want to watch, but all the rest of the movie is all there as a kind of peripheral vision. And so it's actually, from the point of view of our research, a very important paradigm in terms of a new type of cinematic experience, that you just don't have a framed window, but you have a total view, and you as the viewer, in effect, become the camera person and the editor and the director of that movie. And in terms of experience, it also means that every performance of this work is totally unique. You know, every person will operate the system in a different way. Everybody will have a completely personal experience, and that will also be a completely unique experience for the other viewers. So in theory, you could come back and watch this movie 100 times and you'd never have exactly the same experience. We've built other visualization systems. This is a hemispherical projection environment. Here we had the opportunity recently to film the symphony orchestra in Istanbul, and this is then projected into this hemisphere, and you see there's a kind of, it's a trackball. If you rotate the trackball left and right, you basically rotate the movie. So you can look towards the director, or you can look towards the musicians. And this is another recording we did in Istanbul. We set up the camera and we asked a group of dervish dancers to dance around the camera. I think you can see also that cultural heritage is a very important thematic in the work we're doing. But this is another area of research which is just scientific visualization. And we are working with different partners at different universities specifically in this field. Now again, jumping back again, there are really interesting histories in terms of visualization. And so another machine that was developed, initially developed at Museum Victoria, is this, which is called a virtual room, which actually is a space which you can walk around, and it's as if you're walking around a room, looking through windows into that room, and seeing something in that room from 6 different points of view. Now, in this particular work, we filmed a Japanese dancer, Saburo Teshigawara, and we filmed him and his partner from 6 different points of view in stereo, in 3D. And then this is played back inside this environment. So as a viewer, you can walk around that environment. There are 6 windows, and you are basically seeing the dancer as if they're inside that room in 3D, and you see them from 6 different points of view. Now, interestingly enough, this system has been, let's say, culturally commercialized. It's currently touring to many festivals, and various commissions are being given out. We just recently did a commission with Robert Lepage in Montreal, and other dance companies and theatre makers are involved in discussion about doing projects for this particular machinery. So it's not live performance, it's not cinema, it's not documentary, it's something else. We're also involved in dome projection. This is an example of one of the dome systems we have set up at the lab. I'll just show you a quick example of a dome work. The content of this, these are just actually very simply fisheye photographs of interesting ceiling architectures. And you're just moving from one ceiling to another using some digital transformations. Now, the current work that's going on at Alive is very much focused in this field, digital humanities and digital cultural heritage. And I'll just give you a little sort of sampling of some of the projects we are currently working on. And many of these projects involve international partnerships. This is a partnership with UC Merced, Professor Maurizio Forte. He is laser scanning and photographing the Han tombs. These are examples. Here he is. You see him actually doing the scanning and some of the samples. And we are actually then taking this data and putting it into our 360-degree visualization system. So that green object is one laser scanned cave. When you, tomb. When you click on it, you actually go into the tomb. You can move around. You can get closer to the walls. And there are different strategies for, let's say, interpretation strategies which involve zooming in on details and getting voiceover and other kinds of, let's say, educational or educative overlays. And this same paradigm is currently being developed in a major project with the Dunhuang Academy, looking at the famous and wonderful Dunhuang Caves at the edge of the Gobi Desert. Again, taking these laser scans and high-resolution photography of these caves and being able to experience them one-to-one scale in this immersive environment, and also being able to add different interpretive layers to this data. We're doing a project with Professor Lewis Lancaster at UC Berkeley around the Tripitaka Koreana, one of the, I think, the largest Buddhist canon in the world. And again, looking for new strategies of visualization of this kind of data set. working on a project with the, at the Jerusalem Museum with the Europeana, which is one of the biggest data set, cultural data sets, artistic data sets in the world. All the major museums, the Louvre, British Museum, have contributed to this. And again, it's looking at ways in which we can interactively work with this data. Now, one of our partners in this project is the ZKM Karlsruhe, and this, for instance, is an example of a project they've done with Wikipedia, and being able to just explore the Wikipedia databases. And it just shows you a way in which Wikipedia can be, again, experienced as a very rich 360-degree interactive space of image conjunction and information. So this is pulling data in real time from the internet, from Wikipedia. And this, I'll just show this last work as it's an older work of mine, but I'll show it as a sort of concluding work. It's called The Golden Calf. It's a sort of augmented reality work. You have a white pedestal, and on the pedestal there's a monitor. And if you lift up the monitor, you see a virtual golden calf standing on top of the pedestal. And if you move the monitor around the pedestal, you can examine that golden calf from different points of view. And lastly, if you don't mind me doing a little advertisement, our Run Run Shaw Creative Media Centre will have a grand opening on the 28th of October. We will run a 6-month-long cultural festival with symposiums and performances, and I'd like to invite you all to take the opportunity to visit. I'm sure you'll enjoy that experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Shaw, for this fascinating presentation. I'm going to abuse my power as the MC and ask you one question, if I may.
You may, of course.
Have you worked with any Hong Kong organizations? Because all your examples are actually not from Hong Kong.
So let's say a lot of these examples, so all the recent things I showed, all that cultural heritage projects, they are all being developed here in Hong Kong. When you ask me what are we doing with Hong Kong content, actually recently working with students, we've done a lot of 360-degree filming of festivals, especially temple religious festivals here in Hong Kong. And actually in October, I think it's October, November, the Heritage Museum is organizing a big exhibition. We'll be showing it in the Central Library. The hemispherical projection system, and you'll be able to visit a number of different festivals at different temple locations all over Hong Kong. So actually there's a strong focus on using these techniques as a way of documenting cultural heritage here in Hong Kong.
That's wonderful, because I do see plenty of opportunities for you guys to work in Hong Kong, not just in the cultural field, but maybe even with some industries that could be potential applications. And I'm sure probably some of you who have just experienced what Professor Shaw has shown us might find some possibilities in what you're doing, and do contact him and his team if you find some collaboration opportunities. And we all look forward to your big show coming up soon. Any other questions for Professor Shaw? If not, then thank you.
Thank you very much.